Last Tuesday night, a 38-year-old construction worker in Houston named Marcus opened his banking app while sitting in his truck. He makes $4,200 a month. Good money. Not rich, but solid. But when the app loaded, his stomach dropped. $647. That's it. That's all that was left. He stared at the screen for a full minute, then said out loud to nobody, "I don't remember spending this much." Here's the thing. Marcus wasn't lying. He genuinely could not remember where the money went. No big purchases. No emergency. No crisis. The money just disappeared. Little by little. $5 here. $18 there. $43 somewhere else. Death by 1,000 cuts. And Marcus is not alone. Right now, millions of Americans are losing money the exact same way, and they have no idea it's happening. There's a silent thief in your life. It doesn't break down your door. It doesn't hold you at gunpoint. It doesn't even make noise. This thief comes in quietly, takes a little bit every single day, and leaves before you even notice. Most people never see it, but it's stealing their future one transaction at a time. What I'm talking about is unconscious spending. And here's what most people don't know. The Bible warned us about this exact problem thousands of years ago. John chapter 10, verse 10 says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy." The thief doesn't announce himself. The thief operates in silence. Just like the habit that's destroying your bank account right now without you even knowing it. Here's what most people miss. Think about it. When was the last time you sat down and actually looked at where every single dollar went? Not just glanced at your account balance, really looked. Most people can't do it because they genuinely don't remember. And that's terrifying. The number one financial problem in America isn't low income. It's not unemployment. It's not even debt, although that's a symptom. The real problem is lack of discipline. And the Bible called this out centuries before credit cards even existed. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28 says, "A person without self-control is like a city with broken walls." Picture that for a second. Imagine a city with no walls, no gates, no guards. Anybody can walk in and take whatever they want. Enemies, thieves, wild animals. Nothing stops them because there's no barrier. That's what your financial life looks like without discipline. Wide open, vulnerable. And Satan doesn't need to bankrupt you with one giant disaster. He just needs you to live without walls, without boundaries, without control. Because once you're unprotected, the stealing happens automatically. You know what's interesting? Most people don't lose money dramatically. Nobody wakes up and blows $5,000 on something insane. That's not how it happens. People lose money quietly. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 20 says, "Fools spend whatever they get." That sounds harsh until you realize it's describing most of us. We get paid, we spend it, and by the end of the month we're confused about where it all went. Unconscious spending works like a slow leak in your roof. You don't notice one drop, but over weeks and months, that leak destroys the entire ceiling. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. A $5 coffee every morning on your way to work. Seems harmless, right? That's $150 a month. A streaming service you signed up for 6 months ago and forgot about. $30 a month. Ordering food delivery 3 or 4 times a week because you're tired. That's another $300 to $400 a month. A subscription box. An app you barely use. Late fees because you didn't check your account. Time 0.5s, fees for insufficient funds. Small purchases at the gas station. It adds up so fast your head would spin if you actually tracked it. But you don't track it. Because tracking feels like work. So the money just evaporates. You work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and your money disappears into things you don't even remember buying. You don't feel pain when you swipe the card. You feel pain later when you check your balance and realize you're broke again. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Small leaks sink big ships. You don't need a massive hole to go underwater. You just need enough small leaks that water comes in faster than you can bail it out. And right now, most Americans are sinking and they don't even know why. Listen, if you're feeling this right now, if these first few minutes are hitting you in the chest, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Not for me. Do it so YouTube knows to push this video to other people who are losing money every single day without realizing it. Because this message could change someone's entire financial future. Now let's go deeper. Here's where it gets serious. Unconscious spending is not just a money problem. This is spiritual warfare. You need to understand that. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8 says, "Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." Now most people read that and think Satan shows up with horns and a pitchfork trying to destroy your life in one dramatic moment. That's not how he works. Satan doesn't destroy you with one massive attack. He destroys you with repetition, with small compromises, with tiny decisions that seem harmless in the moment but compound into disaster over time. One bad financial decision. You can recover. 10 bad financial decisions. You start to feel it. 50 bad financial decisions repeated every month for a year. You're buried. And here's the scariest part. You didn't even notice it happening because each individual decision felt so small. That's the strategy. Time 0.5s or keep it small. Keep it quiet. Keep it under the radar. And by the time you realize what's happening, you're already in trouble. No discipline equals no defense. No defense means the enemy walks right in and takes whatever he wants. And what does he want? He wants you stressed, anxious, desperate, broke, fighting with your spouse about money, unable to be generous, unable to serve, unable to focus on God because you're drowning in financial chaos. That's the goal. And unconscious spending is one of his most effective weapons because you don't even see it coming. Let me tell you about Rachel. She's a school teacher in Ohio. Makes about $46,000 a year. Not a lot, but enough to live on if you're careful. Rachel is a believer. She goes to church. She prays. She loves God. But every month, she was running out of money. She couldn't figure it out. She wasn't buying crazy stuff. No designer bags, no expensive vacations, just normal life. But the money kept disappearing. So one month, she decided to track every single purchase for 30 days. Every coffee, every snack, every online purchase, every subscription. At the end of the month, she added it up and almost cried. She had spent over $700 on things she couldn't even remember buying. $700. That's more than her car payment. And she had nothing to show for it. No assets. No memories. Just empty charges on a credit card statement. That moment changed her life because she realized the enemy had been stealing from her in plain sight, and she never noticed. Let me show you how this works in real life. The Bible doesn't tell you to be rich. The Bible tells you to manage what you have. Luke chapter 14, verse 28 says, "Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it?" Jesus is talking about counting the cost, about planning, about being intentional, not impulsive, not careless, intentional. And that's what a spiritual budget does. It puts a wall around your money so the thief can't get in. Now, when I say budget, most people cringe. They think budget means restriction, punishment, no fun. That's backwards. A budget doesn't take away freedom. A budget gives you freedom because it puts you in control instead of your impulses controlling you. Let me walk you through exactly how to build a budget that protects you spiritually and financially. First, tithe 10% right off the top, before anything else, before rent, before food, before savings. before fun. 10% goes to God. Why? Because tithing is not about God needing your money. God owns everything. Tithing is about training yourself to prioritize correctly. When you give to God first, you're saying He's Lord over your finances, not your desires. You're practicing self-control. You're building discipline. Every single time you tithe before spending on yourself, you're saying no to impulse and yes to obedience. And that practice makes every other financial decision easier because you've already exercised the muscle of self-control. Tithing builds the wall. Second, save 10 to 20%. I know what you're thinking. I can barely pay my bills. How am I supposed to save? Here's the truth. If you don't save, you'll never get ahead. Saving is not about being afraid of the future. Saving is about wisdom. Proverbs talks about the ant who stores up food in summer so she has enough in winter. That's not hoarding. That's preparation. That's wisdom. Wisdom says, I know unexpected things will happen, so I'm going to be ready. If your car breaks down and you have no savings, you go into debt. If you lose your job and you have no savings, you panic. If you get sick and you have no savings, you're in crisis mode. But if you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, you have peace. You have options. You have breathing room. Saving is spiritual because it's an act of faith that says, I trust God, and I'm also going to be a good steward of what He gives me. Start small if you have to. Save $50 a month. Save $25 a month. Just start. Because saving trains your brain to think long-term instead of only thinking about right now. And thinking long-term is what kills unconscious spending. Third, control your discretionary spending by dividing it into 3 categories. Must, should, want. Must is non-negotiable. Rent, utilities, basic groceries, transportation to work, insurance. These are survival expenses. Should is reasonable and responsible. Decent clothes for work, occasional meals out, some entertainment, a hobby. These things improve your quality of life without breaking the bank. Want is everything else. Luxury items, premium subscriptions, daily coffee runs, frequent takeout, impulse purchases, new gadgets. This is where Satan does most of his work. Because want spending feels justified in the moment. You worked hard. You deserve it. Everyone else has it. Life is short. Treat yourself. All of those thoughts sound reasonable until you check your bank account at the end of the month and realize want spending ate up $500 you needed for something else. You have to control the want category ruthlessly. I'm not saying never spend on wants. I'm saying be intentional about it. Budget for it. Plan for it. But don't let it run wild. Fourth, use zero-based budgeting. That means every single dollar gets assigned a job before the month starts. When you get paid, you sit down and you say this amount is for tithe, this amount is for savings, this amount is for rent, this amount is for groceries, this amount is for gas, this amount is for entertainment. You assign every dollar. And if there's money left over after you assign everything, you give that leftover money a job too. Maybe it goes to extra debt payment. Maybe it goes to a specific savings goal. Maybe you budget it for a want category. But it doesn't just sit there unassigned, because unassigned money disappears. Unassigned money is how unconscious spending happens. Zero-based budgeting forces you to be intentional with every dollar. Intentionality is the opposite of unconscious. Unconscious means you're not paying attention. Intentional means you're fully in control. Fifth, review your spending every single week. Not once a month. Every week. Monthly reviews are too late. If you wait until the end of the month to see that you overspent by $400, there's nothing you can do about it. But if you check every Sunday and you see that in week 1 you overspent by $80, you can adjust for the next 3 weeks. You can cut back. You can course correct. Weekly reviews also train your brain to think about money consistently. The more you review, the more aware you become. The more aware you become, the less you spend unconsciously. Set a reminder on your phone. Every Sunday at 7 p.m., sit down for 15 minutes and review your week. Look at every transaction. Ask yourself, was that necessary? Was that planned? Was that worth it? If not, don't beat yourself up. Just learn from it and adjust moving forward. Those 15 minutes every week will save you thousands of dollars over the course of a year. Now here's what most people don't realize. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is protection. A budget is not a cage. A budget is a wall that keeps the thief outside. When you live with intentionality, when you track your money, when you tell every dollar where to go, Satan can't steal from you anymore because you're paying attention. You've built the walls. You've posted the guards. The city is protected. That's what God wants for you. Not stress. Not chaos. Not month after month of wondering where the money went. He wants you to have peace, stability, control. And that comes through discipline. Discipline is the wall that keeps the thief outside your door. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine it's the end of the month right now. You open your banking app, and instead of that sinking feeling in your stomach, you feel calm. Because you know exactly where every dollar went. You know you tithed. You know you saved. You know you paid your bills. You know you stayed within your budget. There are no surprises, no panic, no shame, just peace. That's what discipline gives you. Now imagine the opposite. It's the end of the month. You open your app. Your heart starts racing. You're afraid to look. You scroll through the transactions and you see charge after charge that you barely remember. Starbucks, DoorDash, Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, iTunes, Target, a gas station snack, another gas station snack, on and on and on. And you add it all up in your head and you realize you spent $600 on nothing. Nothing you needed. Nothing that improved your life. Nothing you can even remember. Just $600 gone. And now you're stressed because rent is due and you're short. So you have to pull from savings. Or worse, you have to put it on a credit card. And the cycle continues. Which picture do you want to be living? Because both are possible. One requires discipline. The other is what happens when you don't have any. Here's the consequence nobody talks about. Little losses become massive destruction. Proverbs chapter 6, verses 10 and 11 say, "A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a thief, and want like an armed man." You don't go broke because of one bad decision. You go broke because of one bad habit repeated over and over and over again. Let's do the math. If you lose $300 a month to unconscious spending, that's $3,600 a year. That's a decent used car. Over 5 years, that's $18,000. That's a down payment on a house. Over 10 years, that's $36,000. That's an entire year of living expenses. That's a child's college fund. That's retirement money. All gone because you didn't pay attention. You didn't have discipline. You let the thief walk in and take whatever he wanted month after month after month. And the worst part? You have nothing to show for it. No assets, no memories, no investments, just empty transactions on old credit card statements. That's the cost of unconscious spending. It doesn't just take your money. It takes your future. Remember Marcus, the guy I told you about at the beginning? After he saw that $600 balance, he made a choice. He sat down that night and went through every single transaction from the past month. He wrote them all down, and he was shocked. $64 at bars he barely remembered going to, $112 on fast food, $47 on vending machines in convenience stores, $83 on mobile games and in-app purchases, $35 on a subscription service he signed up for 8 months ago and never used. On and on. He counted it all up. $972. Almost $1,000 wasted. Money he worked hard for. Money he traded hours of his life for. Gone. for nothing. But here's the thing. That moment of pain became his turning point. He built his first budget that night. He started tracking every dollar. He cut the subscriptions. He stopped eating out 5 times a week. He brought lunch to work. He said no to impulse purchases. And 3 months later, he had $1,500 in savings for the first time in his adult life. Marcus didn't get a raise. He didn't win the lottery. He just stopped letting the thief steal from him. That's the power of discipline. Here's the promise: God protects the wise, not the careless. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 21 and 22 say, "My son, do not let wisdom and understanding out of your sight. Preserve sound judgment and discretion. They will be life for you, an ornament to grace your neck." God doesn't bless carelessness. He doesn't reward impulsiveness. He doesn't honor people who refuse to manage what he gave them. But he does bless stewardship. He blesses discipline. He blesses people who take what they have, no matter how small, and manage it wisely. That doesn't mean you have to be rich. That means you have to be faithful. The widow who gave 2 coins gave more than the rich people who gave large amounts because she gave with intentionality and sacrifice. God doesn't care how much you make. He cares what you do with what you have. Are you faithful with it? Are you intentional? Are you disciplined? Or are you careless? Because carelessness opens the door for the thief. And once the door is open, the destruction is automatic. Think about it. If you can't manage $1,000, you won't be able to manage $10,000 either. The amount doesn't fix the problem. Discipline fixes the problem. There are people making 6 figures who are broke because they have no discipline. And there are people making $30,000 a year who are building wealth because they manage every dollar carefully. It's not about how much comes in. It's about how much you control what comes in. God wants to bless you. He wants to provide for you. He wants to give you more. But he's not going to give you more if you're wasting what you already have. That would be like giving a child $1,000 when they can't even manage 20. It doesn't make sense. So if you want God's blessing on your finances, start by being faithful with what you have right now. Build the budget. Track the spending. Cut the waste. Practice discipline. Show God you can be trusted with little, and He'll trust you with more. Here's what I want you to do right now. 3 things. First, comment 1 sentence. Just 1. Type this: "I choose discipline over destruction." That's it. When you write it, you're making a public commitment. You're telling yourself, telling God, telling everyone watching that you're done being careless. You're done letting the thief steal from you. You're choosing a different path. So go ahead and comment right now: "I choose discipline over destruction." Second, take out your phone. Open your banking app or pull up your credit card statement. Right now. And list 5 things you spent money on this week that were unconscious. Maybe it was coffee. Maybe it was a snack. Maybe it was something on Amazon. Maybe it was food delivery. Write down 5 things. Then pick one and cut it immediately. Not next week. Not next month. Today. If it's a subscription, cancel it right now. If it's a habit like daily coffee, commit to skipping it starting tomorrow. If it's impulse shopping, delete the app off your phone. Take 1 action today that stops the leak. 1 small act of discipline today will build momentum for tomorrow. Third, subscribe to this channel. Don't leave if you want to learn how to manage your money the biblical way. Not theory, not fluff, not motivational, speaking with no substance. Real strategies, real wisdom, real application. Every single video is designed to help you honor God with your finances, build wealth the right way, and stop letting the enemy steal your future. So hit that subscribe button right now. Let me leave you with this. Discipline is not a burden. Discipline is the wall that keeps the thief outside your door. Marcus in Houston learned that. Rachel in Ohio learned that. Thousands of people are learning it right now. And you can too. You don't have to live paycheck to paycheck wondering where your money went. You don't have to feel that panic every time you check your account. You don't have to let unconscious spending steal your future. You can take control starting today. Build the budget. Track the dollars. Practice discipline. And watch what God does when you're faithful with what He's given you. The thief comes to steal and kill and destroy. But you don't have to let him in. Build the walls. Post the guards. Protect what God gave you. Because discipline is not restriction. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from stress. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from wondering where it all went. That freedom is available to you right now. Will you take it? I choose discipline over destruction. Make that choice today. And watch your entire financial future change.